What is up, guys? My name is Creature Play. Welcome to my newest player review video. I'd like to give a shout out to Boone for helping me grab some of this extra footage. Today we're going to be reviewing the 96 overall signature Josh Norman. He offers 95 speed, 95 man coverage, 99 zone coverage, 97 press, 93 play rec. He also offers 12 to pass rushing style. Some of his other stats you see in here: he has 96 acceleration, 73 tackling, which doesn't seem horrible, but you'll see in the video how that actually translate into game. He also has 57 block shed, which is, I'd say, mediocre, and 70 catch in traffic. Today is Thursday, April 7th. As always, prices will change, but on PS4 he's going for about $424, and on Xbox One about $299. So first we're going to get into his man coverage, specifically streaks, which is what I normally start off with. And streaks really seem to be the one area in the man coverage category that he really excelled at. He was able to keep up with almost everybody he was covering. He only has 95 speed, and some wide receivers, obviously have much faster speed than that, but he was able to keep up with everyone for the most part. The only times that it really caught him off guard to where he actually got beat was when the aggressive catch animations were happening with Jeffrey, which happens with everybody now and then, but for the most part streaks were where he was shutting it down the most. He wasn't as aggressive as someone like, say, Pat P or Cromartie, where they were just constantly going for picks or doing whatever they could to rip the ball out of your hands. But what he did great was he was just always there to be able to swat the pass out of your hands. It reminded me a lot of how the 99 Dion played against man coverage and streaks as well. I also tested his pressing against Jeffrey, who has that 99 release. Press on streaks didn't seem to be an issue. He was always able to keep up. There were a couple times where Jeffrey was able to get around him on the press, but for the most part, he had that thing that I've seen with Night Train and Cromartie so far, where they'll get this little acceleration boost at the end, or they'll catch up regardless at the end once they've already been beaten, and he'll still be able to, punch the ball out from the top or swat it out. And the only place that he really had issues with on the press was on slants. But to be honest, I've used, Boss Cromartie and Boss Woodson, etc., and they all pretty much do the same thing. I said it in my last video, but it's just an overpowered play. One thing that I do want to point out is that he does have, that high man coverage, fairly high. It's not, as good as his zone coverage, but he was definitely getting beat way more than he should on man coverage. On in routes, and especially the C routes, there was just way too much separation and way more than I was comfortable with for an outside cornerback. So, if you do run a lot of man, he may not be your top choice, but, he's great at streaks, like I said. But as you can see on these C routes, he pretty much was getting beat every single time. That C route was deadly against him and pretty much worked 100% of the time. But now that we're moving past the man coverage, I do want to get into what he excels at: his zone coverage. His zone coverage was amazing. He is honestly one of the top cornerbacks that I've used when it comes to specifically zone coverage. He's got great awareness, great play rec. He's really able to pick up who he's supposed to be covering, and it really wasn't an issue, not one time. I actually didn't have one single clip of him not getting zone coverage, covered. He actually was able to hold up every single time we tested a zone coverage play on him to either swat the ball or go for interceptions. He, like I said, isn't as aggressive as a Pat P or a Cromartie, but he definitely, on zone coverage specifically, was always there to swat the ball down. So if you call zone coverage a lot, he is definitely somebody you should probably pick up if you want an outside corner. Here we're going to go specifically into his interceptions. That one right there was like the only spectacular animation interception that I got. And there was a man coverage one you saw as well. But for the most part, his zone coverage was where he had the most interceptions. Like I said, he's not aggressive, but it's weird the way his interceptions work. If he was running towards the ball, or if he was already in place to where the ball was going, that's when he would get the interception. So as you can see, he's pretty much in the spot where the ball is already going to be to make that interception, and when he's cutting off that side route. But if it was, just a high pass or something where he was actually following somebody, he went for the block instead of the interception probably 8 out of 10 times. His tackling was kind of piss poor, to be honest. He block shed these first 3 clips that I'm showing, but he block shed only to not make the tackle. So he would either get locked up completely on the block shed. Here he just gets completely demolished. He gets pancaked constantly, and this is just by a wide receiver. So I really didn't have any success with him, you know, on the run. I tried him at nickel, I tried him on outside. So if you're going to use him for run support, definitely keep him on the outside. I don't pass rush with my corners too often, but I decided to test it anyway. He's pretty much the same as Shazier. I don't know if you saw the video I did on him. Basically, if he can get through untouched, he's, you know, great. But if he gets picked up by anybody, he's either going to get pushed on his face and he just get locked up for God knows how long. So overall, this card, he's not bad at all. He is honestly one of the best zone corners I've played with, but his man didn't really feel like 95 man coverage. You know, he had way too much separation. The easiest way that I can sum him up is he is the Deion Sanders of zone coverage. He is beyond amazing at zone coverage, but that's pretty much the only thing he does well. Just like that Deion, you know, he was just great at man coverage, at least when I had him. They both kind of were, you know, really bad at being able to rely on if somebody was running a toss to the outside, etc. So if you need a great solid zone corner, if you run zone a lot and you need an outside one or two, I definitely say pick him up because he is one of the top ones in the entire game. As always, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Take care.